You're listening to Shea's Paranormal Chat. Paranormal podcasting done Shea's way. Tons of fun.
Dude, seriously?
A bit sarcastic.
Hashtag investigator, not hunter.
But always real. Don't get your panties in a twist.
Oh my god, really?
This is real, raw conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Hey everybody, we had a little dilemma there again. As usual, I started under the wrong show, but here we are. We have Buddy from Ocean State Paranormal, who has been patiently putting up with me and laughing at me, which, you know, I laugh at myself all the time. So let's get started. Hey, Kim. Kim's in chat room with us tonight.
Hey, Kim.
Yeah, they're saying, I think Spreaker hates Shea. Shea's just not smart enough to run Spreaker. There's a difference. You never know. So, okay. Now that we're all thrown up here. So, you are out of Rhode Island, and
yep.
your group is called Ocean State Paranormal.
Yes.
And I know you founded or co-founded the group in 2012, right?
Yes, we just had our 6th anniversary. I don't know, October 12th, I think, was our anniversary.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
What got you into the paranormal originally?
Originally, so forever, I grew up watching shows like In Search of with Leonard Nimoy.
Yep, they just brought that back, right?
Exactly, Unsolved Mysteries, like you see the unexplained. It always fascinated me, but like Bigfoot, it always fascinated me. But I was always like a show me kind of guy. So as I became a teenager, I ended up going out with friends. It's called legend tripping now. You go out to these haunted location or allegedly haunted locations like the Ladd School in Rhode Island or like the Nellie Vaughan, the Mercy Brown grave sites, the vampire grave sites, expecting for something to happen. And of course, nothing happens, you know, because you're just like picking a random time going out there and your emotions are like through the roof and nothing happens. And it's just like, all right, whatever. So I go through, there's one point in my teenage years where I can remember it happening, but I go through most of my life without really experiencing anything until right after I got married. I was working in a group home and it was in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. And it was a group home with little boys, ages about 5 to 12 years old. I was an overnight staff there. Throughout my employment there, I'd have all different kinds of staff, clients that lived there, asking me, family members that asking me, have I ever seen the ghost? I'm like, what are you talking about? What ghost? Like, there's a ghost. There's a ghost. Everybody had a ghost story. I'm like, I don't want to hear any of the stories. I think at that point, I'm like, I don't really believe it. I'm like, I think you guys are just like pulling straws and like just thinking it's a ghost and it's anything but that. And I always had an excuse for it until right after I got married. I came back from my honeymoon and I was doing dishes and I turned around and I heard a motion sensor go off and I turned around to see a shadow walk out of the room, walk right in front of my face and disappear. I was absolutely terrified the first time that happened. From that point, for the next 2 or 3 months, I experienced every kind of paranormal claim that you could imagine. Phantom footsteps. I heard voices, disembodied voices. I saw the shadow. I had my shirt tugged on. Just all different things. When I tried to explore every other possible explanation there was nothing. There was like the footsteps. I'd run upstairs. There were offices up there. They were all locked. I'd unlock all the offices. I'd go in. Nobody. TV would go on downstairs, loud as could be. Nobody. You know, just like voices. I'd hear voices in the middle, not voices in my head, obviously. I feel like I'm mentally ill when I say this sometimes, but right. I'd hear voices in the next room, and I get up and go look, thinking it was a kid that was up, and there'd be nobody there. I'd hear footsteps on the stairs. I go, there'd be nobody there. So after a while, I started to like, maybe it is a ghost. I saw that shadow, that just scared the hell out of me. I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. And I was kind of scared to go back to work. So I talked to some people that worked there, and they started sharing with me the same experiences. Like, you got to just talk to it. I'm like, what do you mean I got to talk to it? They're like, you got to just talk to it. You got to tell it to leave you alone. I'm like, out loud? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, get the hell out of here. So one day I did some research, and I looked into who may own the home, and there was a couple back in the late 30s. Actually, in 1939, they lost the home. They foreclosed on the mortgage. They had originally built the home, really beautiful woodwork inside, really beautiful house. And I'm like, all right, let me try this. So it was about maybe 4 o'clock in the morning. I shut all the bedroom doors, all the kids' rooms. I go in the middle of the house where all the activity happens. I'm like, look, Mr. and Mrs. Piranunzi, that was their name. They were Italian immigrants. I'm like, I know you built this house. I know you love this house. I know you still love this house, and you care about what happens to this house. But I'm not here for you. I'm not here for your house. I'm here for the safety of these children that live in this house, and I don't really want to see you or experience you anymore. And right hand to God, it stopped almost instantly, almost like within the next night. Things calmed down and went away, and it never happened again. I worked there for another 6 months, and I never experienced a thing ever again. So the same thing started happening a few months later when my grandmother passed away, and that's when I realized I wanted more of this. I wasn't so scared of it anymore. I just wanted to know more and try and... I had a team come into my mother's house and helped us to, help give you that reassuring feeling, kind of empowered you almost to feel like it was your area, your space, that they can't be there, they can't bother you. And that actually works sometimes. And I just wanted to do it more. So that's what got me into the paranormal. I'm sorry, it was such a windy question there, but wanted to answer.
No. It's always better when the guest talks more than me, because I ramble.
Yeah, that's my story.
No, that's good. And I'm a strong believer that intent and empowerment are a lot of the way to handle it. You go in there and you set your intent for good things, and you tell them, this is the line, do not cross. This is what you're allowed to do. This is what, you're not allowed to do. You're not allowed to touch me. You're not allowed to hurt me. Leave my children alone.
Yep.
But I'm a very strong believer in that.
Absolutely. And essentially, I've made a career working with people. I told you I work in mental health. And you're just talking to another person, whether they're living or not. Ultimately, there's a small percentage of the time, maybe not, but ultimately, you're just talking to people.
Exactly.
So you got to try and connect with these people, living or dead.
Yeah. Most of them were people. I mean, you have the residual that can't interact with you, but and then you have that 0.5% that might be something that was never human, but most of them are human, and most of them are probably scared, lost, lonely, bored. So you just gotta
hang into those same emotions that they did when they were people. Have those same memories they did that when they were people. Maybe try even as hard as they did to communicate with you as they did when they were people, even if not more so. I don't know. It depends.
They could be trying to communicate. Let me tell you, let's say my kids, for instance, I talk to my kids over and over again, and they don't hear me. You know how irritated I get? Imagine doing that for...
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
We have Dale, one of your team members.
Oh, Dale Beluccio. Yeah, she is one of my team members.
Oh, she?
She, yes.
She is in the chat.
She's actually my most favorite aunt that I have. She's an aunt of mine as well.
Hi, Aunt Dale. Thank you for joining us. Since we're doing shout-outs, we also have Jen B. We have Kim. We have Wolf. We have Aaron, KPRS, Kim. I'm sure my sister's out there listening. She might not be in chat, but we have Matt, who's sitting right next to me.
Hi, Matt.
Hi.
Oh, he talked. He talked.
Hey, he spoke. Wonderful.
Yes.
All right. So. There's that.
So I saw on your page, and I don't want to word this wrong. Over the summer, you did an event, and did I read correctly that you either raised or helped raise like something
We
like
did.
$5,000 for.
Oh no, not quite $5,000. That's the ultimate goal for the end of the whole
helped.
season.
Yeah. It went
In
towards
June,
it though, right?
in June, our event raised. We had 10 people in. We only charged $35 a pop. So the $350 we collected from that event, we took all the money, we gave it to Varnum.
That's why I said I didn't want to word it wrong, but I knew it was either you raised or helped raise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're doing the. It's just we're hosting events, so we're hosting events again next Saturday at the Varnum Armory. Where first we're having this medium Roland Comtois that I was talking about earlier. We're having him in the drill hall for a. The event sold over 100 so far. It can go up to 250. I don't know if we'll sell out completely 250 people, but he's going to do a gallery reading, and he's quite incredible. And we're going to follow that up with a short break, and then he'll come back and he'll do an investigation of the building with us. And whoever else buys the ticket, that's called following the energy. He wanted to follow the energy through the building.
Yeah.
So he's a cool guy, and he turned me into a believer of him at very least. So
I'll have to look into him because I saw his name.
Yeah, he's from
Rhode
Island.
Recognized, but I'll definitely,
He doesn't. Well, the Following the Energy event, it makes it's so special because Roland doesn't ever do paranormal events. He only does gallery readings where he's a spiritual healer and he helps people that have lost loved ones or just recently lost them or had lost them decades. And he doesn't
more
come
feeling,
out.
Yeah.
He's not like a medium where we'll come out and ask you questions and or get cold answers or all the old tricks that mediums or of the past have used. He'll come out and he'll tell you stuff, and it's so dead on. It's so personal. It gives me the chills thinking about what he told me. It's just so intimate that nobody would know this unless I told them this, right?
Nice.
The memories he told me of somebody I had, and interpersonal personal memories from 20 plus years ago. Somebody who died 20 years ago. So there'd be no way this man could know this. So I'm like, we got to get this guy. So we talked to him earlier in the year, and we set this up. And he wanted to do a kind of a ghosty thing because he never does it. So we set that up as well. So, but after we pay Roland, all the proceeds are going to go straight to the Varnum Continentals.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
See that I really respect teams and events that, and you have expenses. I understand that, but any portion that goes to charity, the
whole thing. Amen. I mean, we got to pay Roland, but I mean, I'm not doing this. We're not doing this because we want any money from it. We want, maybe put a little bit of name out about what we do, but for the most part, the Varnum Continentals, they have this armory on Main Street in East Greenwich, and going back, I've been a history guy my whole life. So I volunteered for different organizations in Rhode Island, Nathaniel Green Homestead, a cemetery restoration project. So I ended up there at the armory for a meeting, and I had never been there in my life. I had only heard of it through friends, and so I walk into this place, and it's like, oh my God! And everywhere I was just in awe because everywhere you look, this building looks like a castle. Every square inch of this building has a different artifact ranging from before the Revolutionary War all the way to World War II. Everywhere you look. So it's absolutely surrounded with artifacts. So it's a cool place. And the Continentals, they have this museum. They have personal items from soldiers and commanders that fell in battle or they're all from Rhode Island, or the pieces were made in Rhode Island, but they're all actual artifacts. This museum doesn't get a lot of attention, so we're doing it for a little bit for them to get them attention. They do free tours, but all their projects and all their preservation of history, they put all their own money into, which is really cool. So we wanted to kind of help that out because I'm a big, like I said, I'm a huge history guy. So I just wanted to try and help that out is the best I could. So I believe our heroes should be memorialized when they're alive and after they passed. Amen. So I mean, after 200 years. Who's going to remember these guys? These Continentals that have their jacket that they wore into battle, or their helmet that they wore into battle that they died wearing. So it's just, I think it's awesome.
I do too. They should. I'm off in space thinking about. I went to Washington a couple years ago, so
Yep.
I got to see all that stuff out there. But there's a special place in my heart for veterans, surviving veterans or deceased ones.
Oh, of course.
I really hold them on a pedestal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One of my best friends is a veteran. He's in the Army. He gives us a lot of support. He's a good guy. But I mean, yeah, like you said, living and dead. It's just really cool. And I mean, it's in the Armory. It's the only Rhode Island Military History Museum or National Guard Museum in the state of Rhode Island, and they just have a ton of stuff connected to Rhode Island history. It's just like really cool as a Rhode Islander. You go in there, being familiar with Rhode Island, a lot of the different pieces that come to play there. So
that's next on my list of. I'm working my way out. I haven't been to Rhode Island yet, but hopefully soon because it's close enough that I can go.
Yeah. So I used to drive to northern New Hampshire. It took me 3.5 hours from Rhode Island. So yep.
Oh,
very close.
Oh, that's it. That's not that bad.
No.
It took us longer to get to Connecticut.
Well, Connecticut's different, but
yeah.
I can't say anything about Connecticut. I hate driving through Connecticut. When we drive south, it's my least favorite state. It's the first one, and it's probably the shortest driving through the South, but I just hate Connecticut. I'm sorry to anybody from Connecticut that's listening. Your state's horrible with 95 in construction.
I still think Boston's worse, but yeah, Connecticut's right up there. I mean, I swear a lot, but let me tell you, in that car ride, I think we were swearing more than ever.
Oh yeah, Boston's tough. Years ago, I abandoned driving through Boston. I just take the T now. It's so much easier.
Yeah. I haven't been to Boston in a couple of years, anyways.
Yeah,
Can't say long time, but a couple of years, anyways.
Yeah.
I'm just reading everything Dale's saying in chat.
I hope you're not talking anything bad about me.
No, I'd be laughing out loud.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I would let you know as I was laughing, but no, he's
fantastic.
Talking about Dale being a Reiki master teacher, and so
yeah, she does all that too. Dale is part of the Ocean State Paranormal. I like to. We're a multifaceted team. Like Dale works with. She owns Greenwood Psychotherapy in Warwick. She's a therapist, social worker. We have different people that work in IT and electronics. We have different people that history. Myself is history, but I have other people that work in history. I have an author. I have a guy in the Army. So we're an eclectic group. We bring a lot to the table, especially when you're talking to people working with a therapist who's also a Reiki master. It's a little helpful,
Yeah. Yep.
She uses the pendulum, and again, I was a huge skeptic of the pendulum. It was never like, it could be them moving their hand, blah, blah, blah. Dale started bringing a pendulum on investigations, and myself and another investigator would just sit there, would just like get as close as we can, just watch her hand. Her hand didn't move once. Her fingers didn't move. Nothing moved. But that pendulum swings in like so many different directions. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it's a coincidence,
seeing is believing.
Seeing is believing.
Yeah, seeing really is believing. Same as Ouija boards. I think it can go either way. Sometimes it could be the person. It could be mind over matter. But not always. You know.
When you're asking a question, it's a yes. It's a yes answer. Then bam, you ask another question, and it switches almost instantly to no. That's the coolest part.
I'm one of those people that even on my own investigations, I love having backup. Like if one thing happens with one device, I like having something to back it up.
Yes, like audio is big for that.
Yeah, you know. So I'm just really big on having. I love if I can get 3 different things to happen at the same time. Oh my God, I'm in heaven.
Well, I'm not like people talk to me all the time about orbs, and I am not an orb guy at all.
Oh my God, me neither.
I might know it's just dust. No, it's a fly. It's not an orb. It's not a manifestation at all. It's just a skeptic in me. But we were on a case last September, last year, so 2017. We were in this old mill, and It's like it looks like a very small flashlight, like light, right?
Yeah.
Like almost like a laser pointer. It looks like that, and it's dotting across the room. And when it goes up, it comes up. It does a loop. It comes up, and then it swings back down. Can't see my fingers. I'm moving my finger, but it swings back down, and it just happens to be an EVP at that point where it changed. I don't know if there's some kind of connection to it, but the EVP was really clear. It just happened at that one moment. That's the only time that I could say maybe it was an orb, but even the word orb.
I've seen a couple things, and I won't even use the word orb.
Yeah, it just makes me upset.
It makes my skin crawl.
Yeah. Exactly.
You always say light anomaly now because I've seen a few things with my own eyes, and we have it on. We've gotten to record a couple things, and
yep.
But 98% of it is just nothing. And
no, it's not.
If you claim dust is an orb. Oh, look, I can see the face.
There's orbs everywhere.
Yeah. There's also energy, like real energy orbs.
Yeah, sure.
I have a few friends that send me pictures of orbs.
Oh, all the time. I get them all the time.
And they're just like, one of these times I'm going to, and it's not just one. They're going to hear it and be like, oh my God, she's talking about me. But there's like 3 or 4 of them.
Oh, yeah.
How about this one? How about this one? How about this one? And I'm like, if you send me an orb to any of my pages, I'll be like, yeah, I don't deal with orbs.
No, not at all.
I do it as nicely as possible, and you can tell the ones that haven't listened to the show because I'm like, every show, don't send me orb pictures, please. No, I'm not going to judge them.
Not at all. I hate it. We were at the lecture the other night, and we have like video. They're like video. We play when we're playing our EVP clips. There's video in the background, kind of set up the room, set up the scene a little bit. But obviously, it's not necessarily the very spot where the EVP happened. It's just to kind of set things up. And there's this dust moving through. And one of the women in the crowd, oh, it's an orb. Is that an orb? I'm like, it's just a piece of dust. And she was going back and forth with me a little bit. And like, no, it's just dust. I can't be any nice. I really don't think I don't think it's anything paranormal at all. But some people do, and like, whatever. It's their opinion. But
I mean, there's that 1-2% that is actually something.
Yeah.
But for the most part, that's why you think it's an orb. That's great. Just please don't send it to me. Except, there's a few people that will send it, but they'll take my opinion. If I'm like, hey, that looks like dust. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. You can see the wings. You can see almost like a fly in it.
Or the tail.
The
tail end of it, yeah.
Or like there's a face in that tree. No, that's just the way the bark is aligned. It's not a face. Yeah,
Yeah. And I try to be patient at first because we've all been there.
Of course.
Well, most of us have been there.
Yeah, of course.
We think something is not. So I try to be patient, but when it's the same person sending me, I think one person's up to like 26 orb pictures, and I'm like, please, don't send me another one.
No,
please.
It's not an orb.
Yeah. So, I'm nice, but I'm blunt. I can't.
Yeah, you got to be blunt. I'm kind of passionate. I'm passionate about investigating and trying to make it as. It's not a science. Clearly, it's not a science. But I mean, it's like trying to make it as legitimate as I can, and I can't put my name on something that's so not even my name or just my opinion. I can't.
Exactly.
It's got to be so. It's got to be 100% concrete, or we got to just toss it out.
I told somebody once. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure that's dust, and they kept arguing. This was when I was the first paranormal page I was on.
Yep.
And they kept arguing. I'm like, well, okay, well, if you think it's something, then you go with that. And they went around saying, oh, Shea said that this. Fuck you, I did. I didn't say that was shit. Don't call me out because I will call your ass out.
Yeah, no. It's just, I don't know. It's just, there was one, there's a place called the Elder Blue Cemetery. It's in Cumberland, Rhode Island. It's legendarily haunted. And let me tell you, I definitely believe it's haunted. I've had realistic paranormal experiences there that I can't explain. But, I was there with another team. I was kind of like helping them out, and the guy that did the video, it was facing me and then facing the road. There's an anomaly there that's supposedly supposed to be a gray man. It's called the Gray Man. It's supposed to be a man in a gray suit. It's supposed to be protecting. The story is he's protecting the cemetery. Of course, it's some crazy elaborate story to it, like or crazy vague story. But anyway, the Gray Man in the gray suit and. I went with this team, and they swore up and down it was the man in the gray suit behind me in the street. And I'm looking at him like, I don't know. And so I went back to the cemetery, and I stood in the exact same spot of the guy who took the picture. I'm looking at the video clip and pause on my phone, and I look up, and it was a tree. It's just the way the camera was moving. It kind of looked like it was blurry, and it looked like it was kind of a dude because it was a small tree, but it was a tree. But it's just stuff like that. You know, it's stuff like that.
There's a woman in white. There's always a blue lady.
Yep.
You know, gray man, gray. You know.
I'm not saying there's not. I'm just saying
but
that
there's so many. It's hard to separate.
Yeah, it is. It's always a woman in white. Every time you hear something, it's always a period woman wearing white. Don't point your finger at me. My wife's pointing at me from the other room. But because we had experience where there was a woman in white, in a Victorian white dress, and she was from the Victorian era. But not always the case. People say it's always like a woman in white on the side of the road or some crazy story like that.
It's the same thing with the same thing back to the more people that claim this stuff, it takes away from the actual real stories.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of fictionalizes it almost. Yeah. And that's why people think it's BS, because it sounds like BS. It's not the actual paranormal side of things. I don't know. Maybe it's just my opinion, but that's just how I feel.
No, that's why you're here. Express your opinion, you know.
Absolutely.
I express my opinion a little too much sometimes, so.
Yeah, you know, we all do. We all put our foot in our mouth.
Dale says she loves you, except that you're a Miami Dolphin fan.
I am a Miami Dolphin fan, but I am very proud of my Boston Red Sox for winning the pennant last night against the Houston Astros.
There we go, yeah.
And we're going to win the World Series. So that's all I got. I know football. I was born outside of Boston, so I can say this. We'll do really good, and then we'll blow it at the end, just like, you know, always. But, hey, I'm rooting for him. I hope not, but I don't know. You never know. Traditionally, that's how the Sox have always been, but we'll see.
I still love them, win or lose.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, and my terrible Dolphins, although they are terrible, they still are tied in first place with the New England Patriots. So there's that too, Dale. So I'm just saying.
See, there you go, Dale. See? We have a birthday? Wait a minute. Oh, we have to stop and say happy birthday to Miss Luna.
Happy birthday, Miss Luna.
Luna is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. She's a sweetheart. Happy birthday. We're going to say it's her 21st birthday.
Nice.
We're going to pretend, because, you know, you can't ask women how old they are. And since I'm only 21, she's going to be right around my age. So
Of course.
But I hope she had a great birthday and has a great birthday weekend.
Yeah.
She's really, really nice. I would sing, but then everybody would leave the show, and
it would
defeat the purpose. That's choking.
Sure. No.
Can you hear him? He's choking.
I can hear him.
I
know the Heimlich. I can kind of dictate on how to do it, but I can't really help you out.
Okay, sorry.
All right.
We'll get back to you now. I just had to say, because Luna is really a great person. She really is. So you have the 2-night event. Actually, it's kind of...
It's a one-night event.
But it's kind of after midnight, the second part of it.
Actually, the second part, just because there was a lack of sales to the second part, well, not the second part. So we have Following the Energy, we have Validating the Evidence, and then Validating the Afterlife, which is a gallery reading, then Following the Energy. Originally, we were going to do 3 events, just a later event that was into the second night, into the 28th, which just, it wasn't enough sales, so we kind of cut it back down to the 9 to 11. So it's going to be a nice intimate session for the investigation, which is good, and then the gallery reading should be pretty good. And again, all the proceeds after we pay roll are just going right to the Continentals. So try to help history.
So it's a plus. Everybody will come, have a good time. People will learn stuff about the paranormal, and you're helping out a charity.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just think that's great.
Yeah.
I heard a couple, I can't remember, but I went way back on the page. You guys got a couple really good EVPs out of the armory, didn't you?
Oh yeah, we have 4 or 5 of them that are on the page from our first investigation. They're pretty good. One of them features Dale, actually. She's in the drill hall, which where the gallery reading is going to be. They were doing, her and another woman were doing like a pre-investigative. They were looking at base readings. They were looking at like the area, make sure the wires are, correct and everything. There were only people on that whole level. Everybody else was downstairs. No men in the building. No men in the building. There were men in the building, but there were no men in the area. And you just have a male voice saying sex, like clear as day, like right in front of their recorder, like it's as clear as their voices are. Another one, you get a whisper saying cold. There's just a few different ones there that were really clear, really good. And actually,
that hello one I heard was the clearest one I heard. Somebody walked in and said, "Hello, Mr.
Hello, Mrs. Champlin," that one. And then the woman says, "Hello." That's actually, that was actually a bed and breakfast years ago on Block Island. That was back in 2013.
I told you I went way back. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you visit the Ocean State Paranormal page on Facebook, you go to the video section, there's just a vast array of all our EVP clips from different investigations, some of the best ones. And the Mrs. Champlin one, the hello one, is I think that's the featured video when you go on the page.
Is that what it was? I just remember. Yeah, I remember seeing that. We have a question from Wolf in the chat. Wants to know has any of them, I think he means spirits or EVP. Have you ever heard your name?
Oh my God, yeah. This happens all the time. Actually, started happening, we number our cases. So it started happening around case 9, and it happens almost every investigation. My name being Buddy. It's either hey Buddy, comes through on the spirit box, comes through on the ovulus, comes through disembodied voices. I hear it all the time.
Do you find it more to like the Armory, where you've been there so many times, you find that spirits more comfortable with you? Do you think they actually know you by name there?
Maybe. Not even the Armory. The Armory I've been to a lot of times, but like I said, case 9, where I think it started, was a different group home where my mother worked for many years. I worked for the company. My wife worked for them. I was in and out of there probably about 1,000 times, and that's where we first heard Buddy. It was actually, is that Buddy, I didn't see Buddy at first, was the whole EVP, which was really creepy. But like it started with, it's not, and it's not just me either. It's other members of my group, like Joe, when we were at the old Kent County the old Kent County Jail in East Greenwich, Rhode Island, like right up the road from Barnum. He was setting up equipment. He was setting up video. He's up in the attic. He's like, I felt really creeped out. He doesn't usually get feelings like that. He's like, all right. He's like, my name's Joe, and I'll be back later to talk to you. So the first session, when we set everything up, and we were starting with our EVP sessions, we drew names from the hat to figure out who was going to go where. But everybody sets himself in a particular area of the building, of the site, on every investigation for the first 15 to 20 minutes, just to settle yourself, to like listen to the natural sounds of the building, listen to what's going on in the building, like when the heater turns on, when a car goes by, or anything unnatural that they might happen to tag. So Joe winds up, we drew names from a hat, and Joe ended up with the attic. So Joe went back up to the attic. He's like, I sat down, I was down there for a few minutes, and he's like, I heard, now we're in the attic. We're talking like late February. East Greenwich is a coastal town. It's very cold in the wintertime. As you know, in the wintertime in New England, really sucks. And so there's not a lot of people out roaming the streets at like 10, 11 o'clock at night in East Greenwich in February. So he's sitting there, and he has a woman's voice. He comes downstairs. He sees where the nearest woman is. She's 2 floors down. He goes back, he reviews his audio, and clear as day. Hi, Joe. So, stuff like that. Other people get their names too, but I do almost every investigation I get. Hey, Buddy.
We've gotten my sister's name at the last 3 or 4 locations, like over and over again. Mm-hmm. Spirit box, whatever.
Yep.
We got Shea once, which was, I mean, we get names all the time, but we actually, because I don't know about you, but whenever we start any kind of EVP session, spirit box, whatever, I'm always like, hi, I'm Sherry. This is Nicole. This is whoever. Yep. Nice to meet you. How you doing? But I said Sherry. They were calling me Sherry. My sister doesn't even call me Shea, and my friend was calling me Sherry. She doesn't call me Shea. And we got Shea. Shea over it. We're like, wow. Also, I also got called a slut because I was bent over stretching, and so that was.
Oh yeah, no, I've gotten sworn at before. We've gotten sworn at on the spirit box, which is unusual because you're not thinking you're going to hear swears over the radio, and it's still.
Oh, that
comes
we
through.
we got the CUNT word. We got slut.
Yep.
We got bitch. We got whore. And when I was bent over, it said slut, and she said, my sister said, "Did you just call her a slut?" And it said, "No, sexy." I'm like, oh.
Oh boy, that's weird. It always creeps me out a little bit. It always gives me the chills a little bit just to think about it. But yeah, you get some weird names coming through there.
Yeah, SB. Any spirit boxes. Again, I like having backup. I'll use it for informational purposes.
Yeah.
And we go with it in the moment, even whatever it says. We go with it, even if we think, okay, it's a possibility. This is what it said. We'll go with it in case it did. But then when you have backup, but when you have those type of words coming through, radios are not allowed to say. I don't even say some of the words that were coming through.
Exactly. Well, exactly. Like we were in Houghton Mansion, for example, in Massachusetts. We investigated there, which was very beautiful. I don't believe it's still open anymore, but we were in the basement. We were just talking. It was later on in the night. We were just chatting about like life and how there's nothing like really that the world kind of sucks and blah blah blah. And somebody said that there's nothing really good out there, and right there on the radio it said bullshit, like clear as day. Like what? Well, it just said bullshit on the radio. Like that wouldn't happen. That wouldn't be on the radio. And it's like. And it was like, it sweeps through like 6 or 7 different channels and it says bullshit. So if it was coming through on one station, it would not come through on every single one of those 7, 8, 9 stations. And it's that clearly, that precise. I've heard get the F out of my house. This is my house. I've heard that before over the radio, which is weird. Over the spirit box, which is weird.
Yeah, anything like that always catches my attention. Like I said,
yeah,
because a radio is not going to be saying fuck. It's not going to be saying. Once in a while it will say shit, but not often. Yeah,
no. Another thing with names, just to touch on names really quick. I tell everybody, my name is Buddy, as far as the world knows, or except like my own family. But I've been going by Buddy since I was about 2 weeks old, right? So my legal name is Walter. Nobody ever calls me Walter except my own father, because it's his name. My own mother calls me Buddy, except when she's mad at me. Then it's my whole name.
First, middle, and last.
First, middle, last, and I'm the third, so that comes out too. So when we're on an investigation, it wasn't Barnum. I forgot where it was, but we were doing an EVP session, and instead of getting Buddy, I got Walter. And that creeped me out a little bit, because I never use that name. Ever. Except when I sign my paycheck, and when my father says, "Hey, Walt." But, that's the only person that ever calls me Walter. So that kind of creeped me out a little bit. I don't know how anybody would know that, especially somebody who's dead.
Isn't it funny how we can be creeped out and excited at the same time, though?
Absolutely. It's the same feeling. I tell everybody that I'm a complete coward if, I'm not surrounded by team members. If I go into a place alone and I feel creeped out and awkward and get those weird feelings, there's a good chance I'm gonna leave. Because I'm not, I don't know, but when there's people with me, it's even if it's just one person. I don't know, you just feel a bit more team-like, a little bit more secure. But yeah, it is
safety first.
Absolutely, yeah, you have to be safe.
Yep.
It's still really weird and cool at the same time.
Is there a location that you will not go back to?
Yeah, I had a case in Providence. It was a residential case. It was referred to us by a medium at Paracon. We do Paracon every year with Rise Up. And we met this woman there, one of the first Paracons, and she referred us to this woman who was having all sorts of weird paranormal experiences. I won't go into the whole story just because I could talk for hours about this, but it ended up being, it was the house where you get this is my house, get the fuck out. That's what was coming through on the spirit box. So it was really weird. We ended up having mediums come in, and they were talking about demons and negative entities, and me being the show me kind of guy, I'm like, all right, that's cool. I'm thinking to myself at the time, we're in this basement. I'm with 2 mediums. They're burning sage. They're talking about demons, and I'm like, that's great that they're seeing mediums, but I'm thinking this in my head. But if I'm not seeing it, if I'm not experiencing, I can only I gotta. It's got to be concrete. as soon as we turned around, started walking out of there. The meeting behind me let out a gasping scream. It's like, I was like, wait, what's going on? You all right? You okay? It's like, I get this pain in my back. It's a burning. She lifts up her shirt. There were 3 scratch marks. Right hand to God. I've never been so. I'm like, all right, let's get out of here. And we left. We brought in a demonologist. They did a house blessing. It was just a very surreal experience. I'm not gonna I don't know. I can't. Some of the stuff I can't even explain. I had scratches that I couldn't explain. I heard disembodied voices, whispers on audio that were really unsettling. Temperature change, body pains, very unique experiences with all of us involved. And it was just the time we were involved in this case. Everything in my life, everything in everybody's life that was involved was just negative. It was just not a good experience. So I tell everybody I'm a ghost guy. Demons, anything like that, anything like what? I don't even like using the word demon. Anything like really negative like that, I don't really want anything to do with. And there are people that will do that. People that I know that will do that, and that's great. But I'm a ghost guy.
Good for, yeah, all the power to him, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely. Good for you guys.
My biggest piece of advice for anybody always is, like anybody just starting out, or anybody, when it comes to paranormal, is always trust your gut instinct. If your gut is telling you not to stay, if your gut is telling you to leave that room, if your gut is telling you to leave that property, listen. Because why take the chance? I mean, if you feel that urge to leave, just friggin' leave, because no place is worth it.
Yeah, no, not at all.
You know.
I mean, I felt really bad for the client, but even the guy that came in to help her, he told her to do certain things, and she kind of half-assed it, and then her problems continued and continued. And she's the kind of woman, she's a nice woman, but she would call me every day, and she'd be on the phone for like an hour and a half telling me about all of her paranormal troubles. I feel for you, but I don't have this kind of time in my life. It's just like...
Yeah, you can't
you only do so much for people.
Yeah. So you have to fully, if they don't listen to the recommendations, if they don't do what they're supposed to do, if they only go halfway, it's not going to do any good.
And it didn't, and it led to further problems. I'm glad we got out when we did, and I don't generally take cases where there's talk of anything like that kind of heavy. It's just not my ball game. It's just not what we're into.
But then there's nothing wrong with that. At least everybody should have limitations. Everybody should know where that line is. Mm-hmm. And if you reach that point and this is as far as you can go, then it's time to pass it on to somebody else. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. What is wrong is getting in over your head and making things worse. So for anybody that takes that step back and says, nope, let's find somebody else to step in, awesome. Yep.
Being able to do that. I mean, granted, that was a while ago for us. That was back in 2013, but still, it's, and I'm not saying it's like demonic, because I hate using that word because it has religious connotations. And to be skeptical and to make this more concrete, I gotta cut it from religion completely. But anything just negative like that, it's just clearly has not a good intention. I can't be involved with that. Nope. Like you say, all the power to those who do. So,
like I said, there's nothing wrong with knowing your limitations and reach out for help if you get in over your head, or if you can't go any further. Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely. Because if you don't know what you're doing, you can also make things a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah, absolutely. So.
I'm still in chat. What about these? What I keep forgetting. I didn't even write it down. Haunted history. What are these yours or what? No,
haunted history. We started about 5 years ago. We wanted to put out to the public what we were doing as a paranormal investigative team. We started showing up at these libraries and doing it. We started with, it was called a haunting evening with Ocean State Paranormal. We focused on the first half being, we talked about the science, not the science, we talked about the history behind electronic voice phenomena. We talked about Tesla. We talked about Raudive. And then we kind of we touched on certain theories of the paranormal, and we played different evidence we had from different cases. So that was cool. That went over well. Year after that, we got with our guy Charles Reese, who's now with us full time as an investigator. But he did this thing called Creepy Places of New England. He does Creepy Places of Europe. He's over in Europe right now, having a grand old time. I think he's in Germany now. But he had all these cases from Europe as well, and we had all these historical cases from Rhode Island. I ended up meeting Charles at the Nathaniel Green Home Society. We were both docents. We were both paranormal guys. So we ended up hooking up, and every library lecture was like 4 or 5 like historically significant paranormal cases we've had in Rhode Island, and 4 or 5 paranormal, really historically significant cases from Europe. And we tell the history first, then we played EVPs that we captured or evidence that we captured from each place. So this year, with all the fundraising events that we're doing with the Varnum Continentals, we decided to make Haunted History just about the Varnum Memorial Armory. So we have, I'll come out, I'll talk a little bit about, Ocean State Paranormal, who we are, what we do, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll bring up, we had Patrick Donovan, who's the curator and vice president for the Continentals, the first 3 events. He came out, he brought artifacts from the museum. One of them was a pair of bloody gloves from the Battle of Bull Run with blood from a lieutenant from Rhode Island. Again, Rhode Island stuff won by Rhode Islanders. And he was the first the first guy to die from Rhode Island in the Civil War. And his blood's on these gloves of this guy who caught him. It's absolutely sad, traumatic story. And then he has a sword and some pictures, some tintypes that kind of have a paranormal ghosty twist to them that he shows people and he tells us about the history behind them. And then he tells a few ghost stories because he's been there for a few years and he's had some paranormal experiences. And then we come up and we play 16 EVPs that we captured on our June investigation there.
16?
So, 16, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're from all through the building. Oh, well, you got to remember, it's a lot, but you got to remember there were 20 people spread out into 4 different groups, all off the building, go out throughout the building all night long. So there was a lot of audio to go through, but there was 16 really good ones that we pulled out, and we're presenting those to help gain awareness and public awareness of the armory and what we're doing there next Saturday.
It's very cool. My sister and I got 4, somewhere between 4 and 6 fuck words within 3 or 4 minutes last Saturday. So
wow.
I believe just about anything.
Yeah, anything.
I say that lightly. I shouldn't say that because I believe about anything. I'm very skeptical.
Well, of course, Varnum being a military museum with all these artifacts, you would expect to hear like men's voices. We get a lot of women and children in there. So, I mean, it's also a family-related place. They had a lot of family dinners. A lot of children's voices. So it's just you don't always get what you expect, and it's kind of cool sometimes.
No, I think I'm more going not expecting anything anymore. Because, again, if you expect, like, you get all these lores about, there's a woman haunting this place, or there's a child apparition, and that's what you're reaching out to. You got to broaden things up a little bit. Of course, if that's what the claims are, then you go with that, but you don't want to just go with that. Because,
no, exactly. Yeah.
So
try and recreate it, try and see if you can experience the same thing. Just look at it all angles, I think, is the best way to approach this. Yeah, exactly. I've gone into cases and come out with absolutely nothing. I've gone into places and been like, oh, there's nothing here. And then we go back and like, oh my God, there's so much audio. It's like there's nothing like no K2, no spirit box, nothing. You don't get no feelings. You don't get no odd, creepy feelings. Nothing. And like, oh my God, it's overwhelming evidence. And other places, like I said, it's just nothing. But yeah, we get some interesting stuff every now and again.
Yeah, that's what makes us keep going back and keep doing it. We were talking a little bit before the show, and that 2 seconds of audio makes the 12 hours of just review worth it.
Monotonous review. Yep, exactly.
Yep. It's like just when you're about, and then you're like, whoa, what was that?
What was that?
And you perk up. Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
So, really fun. It's hard work, and a lot of people think we just run around in the dark and, but
Yeah, like, what do you do? You sit in a dark room and talk to nobody? Yeah, we do that, and then we go and we listen for hours on end and watch hours and hours of video. Our first video session that we set up, it was a case in East Providence, Rhode Island, and we had just got our setup with all our cameras and our DVR and all that, and we were going to set it up on a Thursday night, and the woman was like, well, I got to work Friday, so you guys come back Saturday morning and take it apart. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. It'll be fine. So we don't even think nothing of it. We set up 4 cameras, and we run it for 36 hours. Each camera, 36 hours, times 4.
Yeah.
Each of us watched, oh, my God, it was nothing. There was nothing. It was so intensely boring. But other times, like, you're not even looking for something, and then it happens. It's like, oh, my God, I got that video. And so
you have to do it. You have to.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to.
How about the hours of research that goes in before you even step foot?
Beforehand. Absolutely. I go to, like, town halls. I go to libraries. I go to historical societies. Yeah. A lot of different footwork, and all of it is done on personal time, and we don't charge, like, most people don't charge for that.
Yeah.
Anything. And I believe it or not, I have friends that live out in the Midwest, and they tell me about paranormal groups out there charging. But how the hell can people charge to do this? I mean, granted, it is a lot of work, it is a lot of time, there's a lot of energy, but what are we actually doing? I don't know. I believe it's more of a charitable effort, but
I don't believe in charging, and
I don't at all. We don't charge for anything. The library lectures, they ask us, "Oh, what's your charge?" I'm like, I don't charge for anything we do. Nothing we do. Unless if you want to donate, sure, we'll take donations because it is expensive. Even batteries. Just buying friggin' batteries all the time. It's ridiculous. But yeah, there's gas expenses. There's new equipment you want to get. It's just like computers. It's like it's like a laundry list of stuff. And of course, none of it's cheap. And yes, I would take, if you wanted to give me $100 for our efforts, sure, I'll take your donation, but I'm not going to ask you for it ever. So
yeah, I just have an issue with, and I know people get butthurt, and I'm done being careful with what I say.
No, that's not.
So I just don't understand going in and some nitwit charging somebody hundreds and hundreds of dollars, some poor desperate soul that is going through something that they've never experienced before, or they have, it doesn't matter, but
they don't know if they're crazy. They don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they're alone. They don't know who to reach out to.
Yep.
Because if you tell the wrong person, you're going to be crazy.
Yep.
And you go in and you fucking charge these people hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Kiss my ass.
There's some people who go in and do this and then like fake stuff and say they got demons and make them.
And then charge them even more to get rid of the demons that don't exist in the first place.
That don't even exist. Yeah, it drives me nuts. I can't stand that.
That's my second piece of advice. Don't ever charge for paranormal investigating. Yeah. Ever. Don't ever fucking charge for it. There's enough people out there. If you're not happy with one team, go to the next. Don't pay. True paranormal investigators are doing this for the right reason.
Absolutely.
They want to make money. They can make money doing events. They can make money but don't charge these poor people.
No, absolutely.
And again, I'm done. I don't really care. I just say what I think.
Of course. You gotta have to. Yeah, you have to.
I get people telling me all the time, oh, I paid this person this. Well, not all the time, but a few times. I paid this person to do that. Well, first, don't pay them any more money.
No, I mean, I've had mediums that I were interested in using, and like, oh yeah, I'll come to that house. Like, they're gonna give me $50. I'm like, I'm not for profit, so you're gonna be. I can't. I'm sorry, I can't work with you.
If you're non-profit, then you can't be. Yeah.
Yeah, charging on the side. I can't do that. I can't work with people who want to do that. I can't. If you want to make money, maybe not with us. Sorry. But yeah, we work with anybody we work with is under the understanding that this is a not-for-profit endeavor, and if you're not gonna not charge, then you can go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think the majority of us are doing this for the right reasons and for answers to help people.
Yeah, exactly.
The few bad apples stand out, and
It's
But the
bad
rest of
apples
us-
anywhere you go in
Yeah,
anything.
the rest of us just have to keep on higher ground and keep
That's right.
doing what we're doing and stay positive and outshine the bad.
That's right. There's a lot of good people. We meet, like I told you, with the Rise Up. They have a Paracon every year in Harrisville, and it brings together people from like all over. There's people from all over the country, but there's a lot of people in New England that come out to that. And it's just like it's a lot. It's a good group of people, and every year there's a charity. It's just nice to be a part of it. It's almost like a small community now. We've been doing it for so many years with them, but I mean, it's that kind of thing. I almost want to say that they're like a role model. You're just like they're doing the right thing. I think that's how it should be done. I don't think we should change that at all. I think we should just keep charity and helping and understanding, and that in our back pocket. That's why we do this, and not. I do this to help others. I tell people all the time, not to help myself. So
Exactly. That's I could if you watch people long enough, you'll see who's in it for the right reasons, and you will definitely see who's not in it for the right reasons.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So I just... sorry.
No, that's fine.
Good night, Jen. Thank you for coming, Jen. For a year and a half, I was in charge of chat, so now that I switched to hosting, I have trouble, I stop in the middle of my sentence to read the chat, and I'm like, I'm much better now than I was 10 shows ago, though.
No, that's fine. Everybody, you get there.
Yeah, I have a lot of good people helping, so.
That's important. As do I. I'm nothing without my team. My team are, I call them superheroes because they're amazing people, and they help us realize the vision of Ocean State Paranormal all the time. So whether it's our lectures or our public events, these people rise to the occasion every time. Dale, Joe, Charles, Patrick, Catherine Donahue out in New York. It's just like people are incredible what they do, and it's really about team. So
I couldn't agree more. I mean,
yeah,
I have, like I said, I couldn't imagine doing this without the few people. I shouldn't say few, but without the people in my corner supporting me and different, like Matt totally supports me here. Nicole, my sister, my teammate, my partner in crime, totally supports the other side. And while I was busy getting this network going, Nicole held things up on the other side. And then when I have to go and do that stuff, Matt helps hold it, so it all comes around.
And oh my God, my wife Heather, who encouraged me to kickstart this project in the first place. I was like, I want to join somebody, I want to do this, but like, why are you going to go and do someone else's thing? Do your own thing. But yeah, I'm going to do my own thing, and that's she's been with me ever since. So
nice.
Luckily enough, and she's a good cook on top of it, so it kind of helps with meetings and snacks and all that good stuff.
What's your wife's name?
Heather.
Hi, Heather.
Heather, say hi.
Hi.
I don't know if you can hear me. All right.
Yes, yeah. I can. I heard.
They heard you. They heard you from the other room, honey. Yes, thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Yep. I Hey, do you guys have kids?
No, we have fur babies. My wife says we have.
That's
2 cats and a dog. But
I have older children, and I don't know how these teams do it with all these young babies, and
oh yeah, I know.
They must have such a strong partner. I mean, you must anyways, because to do this, but I can't even imagine doing this with young babies.
Yeah, it was with seriousness and committed. But you know what? I founded Ocean State Paranormal with a gentleman by the name of Jared Krisos. Jared was 22 when I met him, and we founded Ocean State Paranormal. And like Joe Britlin, who's with us now, Joe's in his later 20s now, but he was like 23 when he joined us. And they weren't like regular. They weren't like I work with people that age now, and I think they have more on some of them. But then they were very mature and very serious about their commitment, and Joe is with me 99% of the time. He's my right hand when I need him. So I couldn't ask for better people. But I know what you're talking about with people a little bit younger who just maybe they don't understand commitment or don't understand loyalty or hard work or I don't know. I don't know how they do it, but
it's a hard field to be half in.
Yeah.
You got to be like all in or You know.
Or not, yeah, you can't really just do a little bit of, yeah, I know what you mean. Oh, there's another guy, Cody, he's with Rise Up and Taps, and he's like a kid. I think he's like 22, 23, but you would think he's like 40 when you talk to him. He's been around for a while. You know, just people like that are pretty good.
I have to say, before I forget, you're from Rhode Island, which is close enough to my area.
Yeah.
I love talking to people on air that sound like me, that talk like me.
Oh, yeah, you got the same accent.
Yeah, it's like...
I don't pronounce my R's at all.
Yeah.
My wife had chowder tonight for dinner.
I just love it. I get so excited. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love my Iowan people, and I love the Midwest and my California people, but I love hearing my people.
Yeah, of course. We have very unique accents.
We do.
Yeah. I'm not a New Yorker. They think what New York is done. Oh, you from New York? No, we're from Rhode Island. Oh, you guys get your own state now? Oh, yeah, we got our own state now. Yeah.
Yep. They usually, depending on where the person's from, they usually pick up. Are you from Boston? Well, you should have heard me 20 years ago, but Boston, yeah.
Boston.
You know, it's quite fun.
Yeah, it's a very thick accent in Massachusetts. I work up in Bridgewater, so I work with an eclectic group of people from Massachusetts, and oh my God, their accent is much more broader than mine.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I used to be, but it's slowing down now.
Yeah.
They're saying it's a very good show. They're enjoying it. That's what they're saying in the chat. So
I think it's a very good show, too. I'm enjoying myself as well.
Good. I hope you come back then.
Oh, good. I would love to.
Next time we can get into some theories and, now that we've got the introduction out there. And
Yeah. I'd be happy to.
And actually, our hour is up.
Oh, wow. That went by quick.
It did go by very quick. And I'm serious. Please come back,
Absolutely.
We'll have some fun. And
yeah, this was good. I like this. It's very. I've done this a few times, but this is probably the easiest one I've done.
I was thinking this was very easy tonight too. I've gotten very lucky with who have I picked to be on, and tonight was just as easy.
Good.
You're the first one that I think that I had no idea about, and it was just as easy. So
good.
As just like interviewing a friend. And again, I like to say conversation. I said that before we started.
Yeah.
It's an interview, but I like going back and forth more than...
Yeah, formal questions are sometimes, it's like, it's been done. People have heard it before.
I'm going to save that for the next show.
Absolutely. All right, that's fine.
Okay, so let's see. Next week we have Cindy Sawyer. She was featured on a haunting. She's had... I'm not exactly sure how to word it. Multiple exorcisms. I don't know if that's considered one exorcism, like broken down. So we are going to find out together. And then on November 2nd, we have Mr. Mike Ricksecker from Haunted World.
Oh, I know Mike.
Then on the 9th, we have Coyote Chris Sutton.
Nice.
The 16th, we have the one and only Kim, who is in chat listening right now. So
this sounds like a good lineup. I'm going to start listening a little bit more.
Yeah, I got very lucky with some of my guests so far, and I'm already working on November, the end of November and into December. So
Mike Rucksetter is a cool guy. I met him at Ocean State Paranormal this year. He came. He's a very interesting guy. Very cool guy.
I love him. I got to interview him before, him and Shauna.
Nice.
So, yeah, I really, really enjoy listening to them.
Yeah.
And I really respect them.
Absolutely. I'll have to tune in for that one.
And, that would be November 2nd. And we're going to be discussing shadow people.
Oh, cool.
I'm going to give final shout-outs here. So, again, we had Luna, happy birthday. We had
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Matt says happy birthday, too.
Happy
you just
birthday.
can't hear. There he goes. We have Wolf, Deal, Aaron, KPRS. We have my favorite sister, Nicole. Miss Jen B. I think I forget people. is Kim, who, again, Kim will be on the 16th. And it's as far back as I can scroll. And Wolf is saying thank you, and he really enjoyed the show.
Good. I enjoyed it, too. Thank you, Wolf.
Yes, I did, too. So, thank you, guys, and we will talk to you soon. Buddy, hold on one second.
Sure.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host and or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of the host and or Paranormal Buzz Radio and or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is prohibited. Paranormal Buzz Radio will not be held responsible for you holding your knees, crying, and rocking in a corner in a puddle of your own urine, or being beheaded by a group of children in a cornfield. In fact, if you come across a group of children in a cornfield, we promise to make fun of you as you run away screaming in terror. Listener discretion is advised.